Under the Mandal is the respected Sri Damodar College of Commerce and Economics, a flagship institution for commerce education, Ramakrishna Mahadeva Sardampur High Secondary School, which caters to commerce and vocational courses, Vidya Vikas Academy, a school within the VVM group emphasizing comprehensive students' growth and development, and Govind Ramnath Kare College of Law, the only institution in South Goa imparting professional legal education. On behalf of VVM GRK College of Law, Goa State Legal Services Authority, the District Legal Services Authority South Goa, I, Priyanka Param, Assistant Professor GRKCL, welcome you all for GRK Judiciary Talks on the topic Youth for a Drug-Free Goa and Lawyers and the Legal Profession. Today's talk is also a part of an ongoing 30-day campaign on drug abuse, drugs, a menace to the society. A campaign aimed at creating awareness about the dangers of drug abuse and promoting a drug-free society. To formally commence, may I now call upon Advocate Vidya, First Vice President, Board of Management, VVM, and Co-Chairman of Governing Council of GRK College of Law, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Priyanka, for calling me as an opening batsman. My instructions are very specific. I'm not to bet much because we have got in their lordships a very strong middle order batsmen. Lordships, Justice Amit S, Jamsandekar, Honorable Chief Justice Ashish, Chavan, Madam Durga, my colleague in the Board of Management, Advocate Prasad Naik, somebody who always keeps us high even without drugs, Principal Margao. In fact, when I said Prasad that I'll say something about high, he asked me high on what? Stress or performance. I simply told him after the function I have to return home, so let me play it safe. Friends, at a time where the entire country is worried about remaining high on drugs, it is my pleasure, it is my privilege to welcome you to a campus which is high in academic excellence. This campus has about 5,000 students. More importantly, this campus is set on the divine line of Lord Damodar. Nothing can go high on drugs, we can only remain a center of excellence. Vidya Vikas means development of knowledge, and this has been the motto of all our institutions. Our vision is to make this a center of excellence. GRK Judiciary Talks was inaugurated by the Chief Justice, Justice Mahesh Solak. Our motto was to make this a center of excellence, to get people intellectual and fertile. I am happy to today share the platform of GRK Judiciary Talks to create an awareness on drugs in the entire state of Goa. Once again, I welcome His Lordships. Let us be all part of a drugs-free campaign. Let us join hands to create a wave of change and work together towards a drug-free future. Once again, thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, sir. I now request Advocate Vidya to present a potted plant to His Lordship, Honorable Justice Shri Amit Jamsandekar, Judge, High Court of Bombay at Goa. I also request Advocate to present a potted plant to His Lordship, Honorable Justice Shri Ashish Chavan. Thank you, sir, for the gracious welcome. I now request Dr. Maria Goretti Simoes, Officiating Principal, GRK College of Law, to highlight the concept of GRK Judiciary Talks, a unique initiative of GRK College of Law.
Thank you, Priyanka. I am next batsman in line. So going by the flow, Honorable Chief Justices who are present amongst our midst, welcoming all of you all the dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, invitees, students from all the 4 sister institutions of Vidya, Vikas, Mandal, and my dear friends. It gives me immense pleasure and a proud privilege to be standing here before you to highlight the objectives of GRK Judiciary Talks. Well, as already stated by the first Vice President, this is a unique initiative done by the college in order to foster intellectual and academic development through interactions with the judiciary. It is with this that we had started this almost 2 years back, GRK Judiciary Talks, which was inaugurated by the then High Court Judge, Shri Mahesh Sonak. We continue the legacy that we had started 2 years back by also having the 5th edition of the GRK Judiciary Talk on the topic law and the legal profession. The second part of my role here is to create a 30-day special awareness campaign on drug abuse, drugs as a menace to the society. Well, this has been initiated by the Goa State Legal Services Authority, High Court of Bombay at Goa, and they have recently launched this campaign. So if you are wondering why we have called all the sister institution students here at this platform, it is with this purpose to create the awareness that was started a month back. The validity of the same would take place on 25th January at the same premises of the High Court. So without much ado, since we have the superstars here amongst our midst to deliver their talks, I will not take much of your time. And again, thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, Madam. I now request Advocate Prasad Naik to introduce our esteemed dignitaries for today's program.
Respected dignitaries on and off the days, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege and honor to introduce 2 distinguished members of the judiciary, Honorable Chief Justice Ashish Chavan and Honorable Chief Justice Amit S Jamsandekar, who have joined the bench of the Bombay High Court as additional judges on 2nd September 2025 after long, successful and highly respected careers at the bar. Honorable Chief Justice Ashish Chavan practiced as an advocate for over 25 years, primarily in the fields of criminal and constitutional law before the High Court of Bombay. During his distinguished practice, he had several important public responsibilities, including his special appointment as Special PP in Tarun Tajpal case, Additional PP for the Union of India, and Retainer Counselor for the Directorate of Enforcement and CBI. He was also appointed as Special PP by the Government of Maharashtra in several sensitive and complex trials. Beyond the courtroom, Justice Chavan has contributed significantly to legal education as a member of the Senate of the University of Mumbai and as a faculty member of St. Xavier's College, and he has been regularly an inspiring speaker at academic and professional forums. Honorable Sri Justice Amit S Jamsandekar brings with him over 28 years of distinguished professional experience. He practiced as an advocate before the Bombay High Court since 1998 and is also a solicitor of the Supreme Court of England and Wales. His areas of specialization include intellectual property law, commercial law, arbitration and conciliation, with extensive experience in domestic and international arbitration proceedings, including in England, Singapore and Dubai. He was associated with 4-5 Kare in Square, London, one of the world's leading chambers, and became the first Indian counsel to establish a presence in London in the specialized field of intellectual property law. Justice Jamsandekar has also made significant academic contributions through publications in leading international journals and has served as an adjunct faculty at premier institutions including IIM Bangalore. Both honorable judges demonstrate the finest traditions of the bar and the bench, and their journeys serve as a source of inspiration for the legal fraternity and most importantly for all the students who are present here today. Thank you.
I may now request His Lordship, Honorable Shri Justice Ashish Chavan, Judge, High Court of Bombay at Goa, to kindly take over the session.
Good morning to all of you. Good morning. No, it's not good enough. A little more rousing good morning would do. So again, good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
That's better. Before I even start this conversation, I would like to call it an address. It's a conversation that I want to have with you. My mind goes back to almost 2 years, and I stand corrected if not those. I think it was 23 or 24 when I had an occasion to come to this college. The reason was that I was asked to deliver a talk on the 3 acts, the Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Samhita, the Bharatiya PNSS, PNS and those, and the 3rd act, which were the let's say the newer versions of the old IPC, CRPC and the Evidence Act. So this college is not new to me, and I am flooded with nostalgia when I think of the time that I had addressed the students there. In fact, when I met Principal Dr. Goretti in the morning, I asked if the students are there, the staff is, so she was very smilingly she said that yes, the staff we normally don't change, so the staff is the same, students may have moved on. So this is not, Goa is not new to me, and the college is certainly not new. So I would like to begin this conversation by asking you a question. How many of you have ever failed in your exams? I want honest and candid answers. And it could be any exam, it's not your law exams, could have been any exams. So, yes, I can quite understand that many of you would be reluctant to raise your hands. The second question that I will pose to you is, how have you coped with that failure? What have you done? Some of you must have hit the gym, some of you must have gone on a binge eating, or a trip with your family or friends, or perhaps lock yourself in a room, cry, isolate yourself. Basically what all of us do, and there is no exception to that, is to distract ourselves from reality of failure and loss. But does the distraction change the reality? The answer is obviously an emphatic no. The fact that you have lost someone or something does not change inherently. So now, why am I using this illustration? Why am I talking about this? Let us bring drugs into this illustration or equation. Statistically, we find that the consumption of drugs essentially is a result of coping up of some failure or some kind of loss. This may not be the only reason, but it is certainly one of the very important ones. So if one starts taking drugs as a coping mechanism, it would serve as a distraction, but a very short-lived one. In this case, as a mode of distraction, the young generation may be tempted to try or to look at the option of drugs as a kind of, some kind of a stopgap arrangement to overcome that loss or to cope up with that loss. Sometimes it happens that it stealthily creeps on you. So if these things are given free of cost, easily available, easily accessible, then it becomes even more easy for the generation or the younger crowd to give into that and say, why not? It's not going to cost me anything. It's not difficult to access, so why not? So just as we know that binge eating, doing all those other distractions, maybe watching films or going for a trip with your family and all those things are basically distractions which do not take away the fact that there is a loss, that there is a failure, and we understand that they are distractions. The same way, drugs are essentially also a distraction, which we tend to go for or invite in our lives on the spur of the moment, thinking that perhaps this is the answer to the loss, the failure that I am undergoing, and end up being slaves of that particular habit, which ultimately leads to a disease. Do you know what is a dominoes effect? What is a dominoes effect? Have you played cards, or have you built a house of cards? Not played cards, built a house of cards. So to give you a very simple example, if you have this house of cards and you pull the card from one card from below, the entire house collapses, and which is why in English we say it collapsed like a pack of cards. So that expression comes from there. In the same way, the orderly life that we lead, there are so many things, compartments, disciplines, everything. With that one introduction of drugs in your life, you are actually creating a dominoes effect by pulling out that card, because ultimately that one simple looking distraction tomorrow will become a multi-headed hydra, a monster, and something which you really can't get rid of. So this is something which needs to be addressed. Ultimately, as they say, you don't consume drugs, drugs consume you. So what is that one needs to do, which we ordinarily don't do? First is to accept and talk about our failures. Second is to find out the right way to deal with them. And the interplay of both these shortcomings is what draws a lot of us, a lot of people to vices like drugs. So again, this is not a conversation about generations, because it's very easy for the previous generation to say that, well, this generation is doing this, and so on and so forth. This is rather a attempt of telling you and through you others that there are today competition, it is there, work pressures are there, health issues are there, career uncertainties are there in a magnitude that we haven't seen earlier. The battle is the same, so the generations face the same kind of battle. The rules keep on changing, the circumstances keep on changing. So therefore this dialogue between us is essential to successfully navigate this entire flux that we are going through. Now you will say, alright, this is fine, we've heard a lot of this before. We are law students, we know what NTPS is all about. We have been part of campaigns like these. We know that drugs are harmful. So tell us something new. There is one thing that I must talk about before we come to this campaign. And it is an acknowledged fact that there is a steep rise of cases in the NDPS Act since the last several decades. So if we know all of this, if the generation that I'm speaking about, if all of you youngsters know all about this, why is it that the number of admissions in rehabilitation centers are only growing with every passing year? Why is it that there is a steady rise in the number of deaths, especially of young students on account of drug abuse? So this is the elephant in the room. On one hand, we claim to know that we know everything. Yes, we are familiar, we know this is bad. Just in the morning I was giving an example. Everybody knows cigarette smoking is injurious to health. It's written there. It's not even in fine print anymore. The print is also very big. But still, we have the maximum sale and supply of tobacco products all over the world. So this is the elephant in the room. We acknowledge it, but we don't address it. So what is this campaign all about? The Goa State Legal Services Authority is presently running a 30-day special awareness campaign on drug abuse. Objective of this campaign is to intensify statewide awareness on drug abuse, facilitate interaction and strengthen coordination between various stakeholders, and most importantly promote accessible legal aid, which is where all of you come in, for drug related issues. As a part of this campaign, the Goa State Legal Services Authority, along with the District Legal Services Authorities, have organized awareness programs of various kinds, workshops in schools, colleges, institutions, There are street plays being held on this subject, particularly among the beach belts. The discussions through radio, other audiovisual means, community talks in panchayat halls, faith-based messaging through religious institutions, we are doing all of it. So the last 30 days there has been a virtually series of all these activities which are going on. A number of rehabilitated addicts have shared their experiences and which are motivating others through various platforms. Long-term vision, of course, is to see and create a drug-free Goa through law, rehabilitation and community action. All these three principles are very much there. Only law will not see a change, only rehabilitation will not see a change. It is only when there is a synergy of community action, the rehabilitation and the legal efforts that we can actually envisage some kind of change. Now what is your role? Your role as budding lawyers becomes very significant. In this process, your advantage as lawyers and law students is that you know the law. You know the production, manufacturing, cultivation, all that is there in the first 5-15 sections of NDPS. Possession, sale, purchase, transport, storage, I needn't go on. So all of you are aware of the NDPS Act 1985. It does not have a penal color, but also enacted to make stringent provisions for the control and regulation of operations relating to narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. It's been more than 40 years that this act, so if you look at the year that it was enacted, it was way back in 1985, today we are in 2026. So almost 40 years since the enactment of the act. Situation has improved. The answer is there for everyone to see. So your role is, as lawyers, is not only restricted to knowing the law. And we always say this when we are even as lawyers, when we present arguments, we say that you have to apply the law to the facts. So which is the time to do that even as budding lawyers. You have to apply the law to the facts. And the facts are very dismal. And you have to be the agents of change. So your role of lawyers as lawyers is not restricted to only knowing the law. You have to apply to the facts before you. You must take up the responsibility to play the part in ensuring that the objective of law is fulfilled. I will end by saying that I want all of you to urge to take a pledge today. A pledge to eradicate drugs as an identity of this state. Let us not make this pledge on mere whim. Let's live up to this. Only then we will be able to achieve the goal of drug-free Goa and Nasha Mukt Bharat. Thank you so much. And I really thank all the dignitaries on the days. Dr. Maria Goretti, the principal of this college. Madam Durga Madkaikar, Member Secretary, GSLSA. Advocate Pritam Moraes, First Vice President, Vidya, Vikas, Mandal. Advocate Prasad Naik, the Board Member of VBM. And the Campus Director, Ms. Preeta Malya. Most of all, my esteemed brother, Amit Jamsandekar, whom I have shared a journey as a lawyer. And now we are both continuing this journey as judges. So thanks to all of you. And once again, let us take up all this pledge and let us continue this campaign even more further. Thank you so much.
I may now request His Lordship, Honorable Justice Shri Amit Jamsandekar, Judge, High Court of Bombay at Goa, to kindly take over the session.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
First of all, thank you very much. It's a great opportunity for me to be here, and I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much, management and the dignitaries. So, all the dignitaries, the management, the principal, all distinguished faculty members, my colleagues, thank you so much. My esteemed brother, Mr. Chavan, has already addressed you on the topic for which we have all gathered here. Topic given to me is lawyer and legal profession. By now, you all know what our role is. as a lawyer in our profession and as a lawyer in the society. I am going to remind you few things which by now as a law students you must have heard it at least 100 times. Today it's just a reminder. They say that law is the glue that holds civilization together. If that is true, then the lawyer is the craftsman responsible for applying that glue, ensuring that the structure of our society remains upright, fair and functional. Today I want to speak about the legal profession, not just as a career, but as a calling that serves as the backbone of just society. At its core, being a lawyer is about advocacy. In a world of complex rules and intimidating institutions, the lawyer stands as a shield for the individual. Whether it is defending a person's liberty, protecting a small business, its existence, or helping a family or one individual in navigating a difficult transition. A lawyer gives a voice to those who might otherwise be silenced by the sheer weight of the legal system. The legal profession is often misunderstood. What we see in commercial cinema, which paints a picture of courtroom, its dramatics and aggressive arguments, that is the perception of the legal profession developed only for entertainment. We all know that is not true. The true work of a lawyer happens in a quiet hours of research, the meticulous drafting of contracts, and a patient art of negotiation. Negotiation with your client, negotiation with the society, negotiation with the judiciary. It's a profession of details, while a single comma can change the fate of a fortune, and a single precedent can shift the course of history. I will give you one example. When I say one comma, one word can change the course of legal system, even for better. So I am giving you a better example. My core practice was in intellectual property. I used to litigate in intellectual property. Now, intellectual property broadly has three acts: the Patent Act, Copyright Act, and Trademarks Act. Of course, there are many other now geographical indications, semiconductor, and confidential information is also, though it is not codified, it's part of broader framework of intellectual property. One example how the course of legal system and the law changed is trademark law. In 1700, when the trademark law had no existence in England, one person who was the court reporter, he changed that. And how he changed that? Trademark was not considered as a property because it wasn't a property. Around 1600, the law of patent was developed in England. It was considered as property. The Copyright Act was in existence, that is Statute of Anne, and that Statute of Anne recognized copyright as property. So it was easy for courts to deal with the cause of action because the immediate relief which was sought in those actions was the relief of injunction. Now, relief of injunction can be granted when there is a property because it's equitable relief. So, court of equity would exercise that jurisdiction and grant injunction. As I said, trademark had no existence. Nobody knew what the trademark is. Today we know what the trademark is because it is one sign which indicates the origin. You know when when we think of automobiles, you know when Mahindra, when you say Mahindra, when you hear Mahindra, when you see Mahindra, you know the source. When you see Maruti, you know the source. When you say Surf, you know what the source is. So you know what the trademark is. In those days, nobody knew what the trademark is. Trade was growing and people started using some kind of signs on their articles which were put in the market for sale. That practice became very popular. Obviously, when the goods are popular in the market, there is tendency of dishonest traders to copy. And the rival traders started copying it. Cases were filed. Judges had no clue what to do with it because there was no law. One judge took a bold step and he granted injunction. In the next case, of course the judiciary was very conservative. The next judge thought that if it is not property, how can I grant injunction? So he said that you go back to the common law courts, get a title to your property and come back. That practice developed. And that was going on for years. Around 1850, there was one case, Millington versus Fox. In that, the same argument was advanced, of course, by the defense, that it's not a property, you can't grant injunction. By that time, of course, there were many cases, so judiciary was also gearing up to tackle the situation. And that judge said that the defense was that in one communication written to the plaintiff, the defendant's solicitor wrote that I was not aware that it's your property. The argument was of the defendant's lawyer was that this is the communication which I sent before the suit was filed, and in that I said that I was not aware that it's plaintiff's property. Of course, these arguments were heard and the arguments were noted in the judgment. While granting injunction, the judge said that it's not a property, but there is some exclusivity, and that exclusivity is a property, and therefore I am granting injunction. That was the decision. The decision was reported in law reports. Now you know that there is a headnote even in the law report. The law reporter who was present in the court, he heard the arguments, he had written submissions, he had judgments after the judgment was delivered. In the head note, he said that trademark is a property, dash, then some facts, then what was the ratio of the judgment. Subsequent decisions considered that judgment and the perception developed that trademark is a property. So one, of course it was a mistake of the reporter, but that mistake changed the entire course of the trademark law. So that is what the power which we have. We can do anything. I have given you better example and we should stick to better examples. There are bad examples, but that is something we are not here for. How can you change the course of justice for better? That is your role. That your existence in the society is for that purpose. So when we say that the lawyers are pillars of justice, that's the main pillar, because the process of justice begins at the doorstep of a lawyer. You start that process. The judicial setup comes, that's the, I would say, last step where the justice is delivered. But the process begins when a client comes to you and expresses difficulty. That's the role you play in the society. Go in any jurisdiction of the world. Civilized society is changed for better only by lawyers. Our freedom fighters, if we take example of our country, or you go in any other jurisdiction, lawyers were instrumental and are instrumental for changing the society for better. We are civilized today mainly because lawyers contributed, and that is the role which we are going to play in the future. Now, as far as the topic is concerned, the opening batsman said that we are always high. We are always high in ethics. We are always high in our culture, our history, our art, our food. We don't require anything else. That is what you should protect as a lawyer. You should protect our environment. You should protect. That is our existence, and you are meant for that. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much again to the management, principal, my colleagues in the judiciary, and all of you. Thank you. And see you again.
Thank you, Your Lordship, for taking time to share your knowledge and engage our attendees so effectively. The floor is now open for question and answer session. I request anyone, if they have any questions, may put up to our honorable judges.
Good morning, Your Lordship. Actually, as students, we would like to know your learned perspective over many topics, and it is a very good opportunity for us to learn from your Lordships. So my question, Your Lordships, is that as a student, we have observed many NDPS matters. Now, the accused persons in this particular matters are mostly foreign nationals. Now, what are the steps taken by the judiciary to uphold their rights and to ensure that the jurisdictional matters and the procedural matters are upheld?
I thought the interaction was thematic. The theme is the campaign for awareness of drugs. The question is completely legal. But I will not sidestep it. I will tell you that the judiciary is alive to the peculiar problem of foreign nationals being involved in drugs. And as a student of law, I would throw open that ball that you threw at me and ask you to heed up latest jurisprudence that is developing in the state of Goa so far as the NDPS cases are concerned, whether it is bail, whether it is appeal, or whether it is the interpretations of the various provisions of the NDPS law. So please apprise yourself, and probably you will find the answer that you are seeking for.
Good morning, Lords. My question is also on little of the legal lines. My question is pertaining to Section 69 of the NDPS Act. Lords, what are the perimeters laid by the Honorable Court to ensure the balance between the immunity of the actions carried out by the officers and between the rights of the citizens? Because the provision immunes the actions carried out by the investigating officers of the government.
I don't want to give a stereotypical answer again, but there are two restraints that we face as judges. When I was a lawyer here, I could have answered perhaps in a different manner. Today I may not have that complete liberty, but at the same time we are, I think, gathered here to discuss the ill effects of drugs. As students, how can we bring more awareness? So your question, I'm not saying is irrelevant, but perhaps may have been posed in a different forum. Perhaps you could invite me or my learned brother at some other occasion where we can have such interactions in future. Thank you.
Anyone who wants to ask question may introduce yourself first and then proceed with your question.
Respected sir and respected mayor, my name is Nathik and I have a question for you. So if a person is addicted and if he wants to quit the addiction, so any legal actions will be taken against him or he will be left for rehabilitation?
Yes, so that is a very relevant question. And you are not a law student. Because if you were, and if you were familiar with the provisions of NDPS Act, there is a concept of rehabilitation which is ingrained and inbuilt into the Act itself. So when the quantity is negligible and there is a mechanism which is provided in the Act where an application can be made and the person, rather than being vilified as an accused, is absorbed into the mainstream by giving him an opportunity to better himself and going through the entire process of rehabilitation. So, in short, you study the act. Now that this question thing is there, it is that infection has caught on. So I have a question. As students of law, we are in a law college, so I take the liberty of presuming that most of you are law students. So, as students of law, how you feel you can contribute to this ongoing? So this 30 days is obviously a first phase. We have another phase also. And it is again not about any institutional direction. This is something which is inherent and intrinsic to a law student, that he must feel for the society, as my esteemed brother Justice Jamsandekar also put it across. You are the harbingers of change. So what do you feel as students you can contribute to this entire process of making people aware about the ill effects of drugs, and as lawyers even to go to the extent of giving them some kind of a legal recourse?
My question is pertaining to drug abuse. Should individuals struggling with drug addiction be treated as criminals of sorts, or where is it that the courts draw the line in rehabilitation?
So there is an entire process of rehabilitation which is ingrained in NDPS. Go through the act, go through the rules. This perhaps not be the right time, or even we are pressed for time right now. But yes, the answer to your question is obviously, so the act has three aspects if you ask. One is the prosecution of people who are found to be involved in the entire either manufacture, sale, possession, etc., of psychotropic substances and narcotic drugs. Second aspect is the control of the entire syndicate that runs, or how to prevent the import, the export, the entire web of drug syndicates as they run. And the third aspect is rehabilitation. So yes, rehabilitation does form an integral part of the legal structure of NDPS and the allied acts.
I'm Cyril Fernandez, and my question on this subject topic is, what judicial and policy measures can Goa adopt to more effectively curb drug abuse among students, given the Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act's provisions and the rising trend of narco-tourism impacting youth vulnerability?
See again, these are questions of public policy, and it is better that the legislature looks at it. The legislature, the lawmakers are quite aware and alive to this entire issue. As the members of judiciary, it is best left for the legislature to think, introspect, act on these aspects.
Good morning, Your Lordships. Your Lordships,
why don't you answer my question?
Sorry.
How can you contribute?
What I would say, how we as law students can contribute is the usual awareness drives that we do. So oftentimes they do favor results, because especially when you go and talk to students in their schools, if they see some kind of abuse, if they are part of it, they sometimes feel free to talk.
Clinics in your college?
Yes.
So if you can start or spearhead a kind of a campaign through these legal aid clinics of various colleges. Now we can speak for this college. There can be a network of legal aid clinics of various law colleges where this act, because as students of law, you will understand that you are in a much better position to explain the entire procedure also. So one aspect is a deterrent effect that a person must feel before he even looks at the option of drugs. He must understand that the heavy hand of law will fall on him. And that aspect is something which a law student and legal aid clinics can contribute to.
Your Lordship, there is a suggestion that you've just given a skeletal structure of it actually already exists.
Wonderful.
That we should try to enhance it more and make it more effective. One thing that I would like to ask you is that a lot of our sister institute students are actually here, they are minors. So, and one thing is that if a minor is found in possession of commercial quantity of drugs, does the court give any sort of relief as compared to somebody who is a major? Because it is part of this drug network is part of a bigger syndicate. When a minor won't come into possession of these drugs by themselves, somebody has given them these drugs to sell. So does the judiciary take a more kinder approach towards minors in this situation?
See, the answers to the question that you ask are not again in a very yes or no manner. So there exists overlaps between various acts. There is the Juvenile Justice Act, then there is the NDPS, then there are various redeeming provisions where there are minor quantities. Commercial quantity, of course, is looked at in a very particular way or a peculiar way. And when you go through the provisions of the Act, you will understand what I am trying to say. So if there is an overlap where one sees that the minors are being lured into this, or perhaps this has happened out of inadvertence, then the overlapping of the acts will have to come into picture. And of course, everything will depend on the facts and circumstances of the case. So there can't be a one cure for all kind of an approach.
Thank you.
We'll end the question session.
Thank you, Your Lordship, for answering those questions.
And one last thing is, my question is largely unanswered. So
Anybody wants to answer that question?
yes, quickly.
I think I'm loud enough. So we should have a whistleblower type policy where we can bring these drug issues to the notice of the. This is one way we could solve this problem.
A very good morning to your lordships. Sir, I would like to answer your question. Sir, from our end, from GRK College of Law, we have a mobile legal aid clinic which is known as a Nyaya Yatra, and in association with the District Legal Services Authority, we've conducted many drives to create awareness on drug abuse. We've given talks, even the police department has been a part of this. We've gone to various colleges in South Goa. We also had street plays at various places where our students did a very good job. We had a street play at the railway station and at different places in the markets and towards the beach. So that's the initiative GRK College is taking to create awareness on drugs. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Cyril and Madam Ruby Lewis, for answering the question. As we move forward on this occasion and as part of the campaign on drug abuse, drugs, a menace to the society, the Goa State Legal Services Authority and District Legal Services Authority, South Goa, takes pride in awarding Certificate of Drug-Free Campus to all the institutions under the Vidya Vikas Mandal. May I now request Dr. Kare, officiating principal, GRKCL, to accept the certificate from our honorable judges.
So on behalf of the GSLSA and all of us.
I may now request Professor Shah. So there are other principals from other sister institutions. May I now request Professor Shammi Pai, Vice Principal, Sri Damodar College of Commerce and Economics, to kindly come forward to receive the certificate. May I now request Ms. Dawn Da Silva Ifera, Vice Principal, Ramkrishna Mahadeva Salgaonkar High Secondary School, to kindly come forward to receive the certificate.
Sir,
May I now request Ms. Jabal Bijoy, Principal, Vidya Vikas Academy, to kindly come forward to receive the certificate. Thank you. close of this extremely enlightening and a thought-provoking session. I may now request the audience to kindly stand and join us in administrating the Drug-Free Pledge. Requesting Madam Durga Madkalkar, Member Secretary, District Legal Service Authority, to kindly administer the pledge.
I pledge to the students and all, stay away from drugs and live a healthy life. Repeat. Stay away from drugs and live a healthy life. Support my fellow students by setting an example and abstaining from the use of illegal drugs. Avoid enabling any of my fellow students or teammates who use these substances. I will not cover up or lie for them. If any rules are broken, I will hold my fellow students and teammates fully responsible and accountable for their actions. Seek information and assistance in dealing with my own or other students' problems relating to drugs. Be honest and open with my parents or guardians about my feelings and problems. Be honest and open with my coach and other school or community personnel. Thank you all. Honorable Justice Ashish Chavan, Honorable Justice Amit S. Jamsandekar, distinguished members of the Vidya Vikas Mandal, Principal Dr. Maria Goretti Simos E. Moraes, learned members of the bar, faculty members, and my dear students. Good morning to all. It is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks as we conclude the 5th lecture of the GRK Judiciary Talks on the topics Youth for a Drug-Free Goa and Lawyers and a Legal Profession, and campaign on drug abuse, drugs, a menace to the society in association with Goa State Legal Services Authority. First and foremost, we respectfully acknowledge Honorable Justice Suman Shah, Executive Chairperson of Goa State Legal Services Authority, Honorable Justice Valmiki Meneges, Chairperson High Court Legal Services Committee, High Court of Bombay and Goa, for their permission, guidance and support to these talks and campaign. We extend our sincere gratitude to our esteemed guest speakers and dignitaries. We are deeply thankful to the Honorable Justice Ashish Chavan for Lordship's enlightening address on Youth for a Drug-Free Goa. Your message has inspired our students to recognize their role as the strongest force against this social evil. We are equally grateful to Honorable Justice Amit S. Jamsandekar for Lordship's insightful talk on lawyers and the legal profession. Lordship reminded us of the dignity, ethics and responsibility that define this noble profession. Our thanks to the Honorable PDJ Madam, Ms. Sharon Paul, Chairperson of the District Legal Services Authority, South Goa, for her gracious presence to the program. Our heartfelt thanks to Advocate Pritam Moraes, First Vice President of Vidya Vikas Mandal and Co-Chairperson of the Governing Council, for his warm welcome, and for the Mandal's continued support in organizing such a meaningful initiatives. We express our sincere appreciation to Dr. Maria Goretti Simoy C. Morais, Principal of GRK College of Law, for her vision and guidance in shaping this event. We also thank Sri Sudhir Shirgaonkar, Registrar Judicial, High Court of Bombay at Goa, for taking time and attending this program. We thank Advocate Prasad Naik, President of South Goa Advocates Association, for introducing the dignitaries and for strengthening the bond between the bar and academia. We thanks to all the South Goa Bar Association and advocates of South Goa. We must appreciate the efforts taken by Ms. Nilima Kankonkar, Secretary, DLSA Margao, for her tireless efforts in making this campaign program success. We thank all the judiciaries of South Goa who has attended this function of today. I also thank the former principal of Kare College, Mr. Nadkari, who is present here today. We congratulate all 4 institutions who are awarded with the Drug-Free Campus Certificate for their commitment to a healthy and disciplined learning environment. Our thanks to students for their enthusiastic participation, to the organizing committee, volunteers, technical team for their dedicated efforts in conducting the present awareness campaign program. Let us live today with a shared resolve to promote a drug-free society. Thank you one and all. Jai Hind.
तुम्ही पळयतात GNH.